Are you ready for the race of a lifetime, Steven?
I am Zane.
Ooh, sweet. Because that's great, because in that case, this week we're talking about Hot Wheels Acceleracers, specifically movies 1 and 2, Ignition and Speed of Silence.
Yeah, this is a two-part episode.
Yes, and then next episode we will cover movies 3 and 4.
Which will be part 2.
Yes, which is Breaking Point and The Ultimate Race.
The Ultimate Race.
The Ultimate Race. All right, so Ignition was directed by Andrew Duncan and Gino Nichelle. Apologize if I mispronounce any names.
No, he's not.
Written by Mark Edens and Ian Richter, and produced by Ian Richter and Gio Corsi. Speed of Silence was directed by Andrew Duncan as well, but this time with William Gordon. It was written solely by Mark Edens and produced again by Ian Richter and Gio Corsi. And
Nice.
some of the stars, there are a lot of voice actors, so I'm going to name some of the more major characters. Returning as Vert Wheeler from Highway 35 is Andrew Francis. Sorry about that. Same for Dr. Peter Tesla is Michael Donovan. Will Sanderson as Wild. Kathleen Barr as Galorum. Brian Drummond, who some of you might know, as Kurt. And Kevin Oshishi, I'm so sorry about that, who plays Taro.
Don't worry, he nailed it.
All right, Steven, so before we get into the summary, what were your general impressions, or what were your first thoughts about these movies when I suggested them?
I had no impressions. Honestly, I felt like I've seen maybe a Hot Wheels movie in the past,
Oh, but not one like this.
but not one of these ones. One thing that I will say, this is a 4-part. These are 4 movies in a sequel. Well, in a series. But Highway 35 that you mentioned,
Yes.
that's kind of like part of the series in
Well,
a way.
okay, so the way it breaks down is in 2003, to celebrate Hot Wheels' 35th anniversary, they came out with a bunch of new cars, I think, for their toy line, and they released Highway 35, or Hot Wheels Highway 35, or whatever the title is. And it was an animated, direct-to-VHS animated movie about Hot Wheels, basically, and a celebration of it. And it was about Vert Wheeler, who was a young 16-year-old kid who just got his license, who got invited to participate in the World Race, hosted by Dr. Peter Tesla, and to get this thing called the Wheel of Power. And then there are a bunch of other races and characters and stuff like that. It's also very enjoyable. And then 2 years later, they came out with this series, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how they released it, because it wasn't a TV show, but it was kind of structured like that, where I remember, because when it originally came out, it premiered, they all released in 2005, just like a few months apart from each other. And they premiered them like it was just like a straight to TV movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was, I guess, like almost like a hybrid of like a movie and a TV show, because they never really played them again after that happened, and they just released them on DVD, and they never really hasn't been anything from them since then. So.
Gotcha. What's
Yeah.
Hot Wheels at now? It's past 50th, is it?
Well,
What
that
Hot
was
Wheels?
2003 was 16 years ago, so 51 years old, or 50, depending on the date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they've had their 50th anniversary. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool, though. In
Oh,
all
yeah.
seriousness.
It is. I love Hot Wheels. It used to be one of my favorite things when I was little.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
So if you want more background knowledge before you watch this, I would recommend Highway 35, because Zane was answering a good amount. Well, not a lot, but some questions that
yes,
I had.
if you do care about like the continuity and what happened before, so you're up to date, I would recommend Highway 35. And also, it's really, these movies are very cheap to get. You can get the DVDs online for very, very cheap. So.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And I think they might be free on YouTube.
Yes, the last time I checked, there are a couple channels that have them on YouTube that you can just watch. So, yeah. All right.
So we'll
So,
hop into the summary real
yes.
quick.
So,
Summary, there's racing.
Acceleration. Yeah, that's it. End of story. End of review. And done.
End of review.
Yeah.
It's a racing movie.
Yeah, that's all you need to
Animated.
know.
That's all you need.
Yeah, but
Right.
the first film, Ignition, it takes place. There could be actual dates on the wiki page, but I believe it's 2 or 3 years after Highway 35 happened, because Vert has like a little goatee now, and I think he's like 18 or 19 in this, and now there's only a few. Well, there are like 7 or 8 returning characters from Highway 35, but Vert and 3 other racers from Highway 35 have now joined 2 racing gangs or street racing gangs, or not gangs, but groups, whatever.
They're definitely racing gangs.
I guess, yeah. And
I think they actually called them a gang. Not Teku, but the other one.
the Metal Maniacs.
Yeah, the Metal Maniac gang.
But they did that because after Highway 35 ended, Dr. Tesla wouldn't give the racers any more nitrox, which basically it's nitro for like their cars to make them boost and go super
fast.
super fast,
Like 300 miles per hour.
like burnout fast, like F-Zero fast. But he wouldn't give them any more, so they got disgruntled with him. And then at the beginning of this film, Tesla is seen in a car trying to get the wheel of power again, which they got at the end of the last film, and I won't say what they did with it. And the racing drones took it, and then
Which are the bad guys?
yes, they're just like kind of generic, like black and green robots led by this chick named Galorum, she seems human in the first movie, but she's a robot, huh?
Remember those toys? They came out with a video game, and I think they had like a little TV show at one point. They're almost like Legos, but not, and you can put like.
Oh,
different
Bionicle?
Yeah, they kind of look like Bionicles.
Oh, I love Bionicle
Yes,
so
they look
much.
almost like Bionicles, but they're just all one color, and it's just all black.
Yeah, with just
and
like green tints
eyes.
on them. Yeah. But
It's the best way to describe it.
yeah,
I
so
think.
Gig, Tesla's robot servant, seeks out Vert and the other racers because he needs their help in regaining the wheel of power and other things from the robots. And so that's where it picks up.
Yep, and that's the plot for all 4 movies.
Well, I mean, it changes slightly throughout it in terms of character motivations and new
The overall plot, though,
adversaries entering the arena and stuff like that, and mysteries and such. So, even though I know, like, I recommended this, as I said earlier, and I love these films because I got my grandparents to buy the original, the first movie when it came out on DVD in 2005, and mail it to our house and watch it. And I instantly fell in love with it, and I've watched all these movies so many times, and it's just very nostalgic for me. And so I was interested to see what you thought of the film, since you're coming in with like fresh eyes, because I know it's just like a kids movie, and like there's a lot of like product or like toy things in the film that are like, hey, you can buy this now, so.
Product wise, yeah, it did excellent. Overall film for the first 2 were all right. I wouldn't go crazy over them. Definitely better if I was younger and I still was playing with all the Hot Wheels I had.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the racing was great. This is one of those movies though, not a lot of talking in it, not a lot of verbal action, so if you're not actually watching, you're going to miss out on a lot of things, which probably happened to me because I just woke up when we watched it.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I say I just woke up, I mean Zane called me and I woke up, and then
I was outside of his door.
Yeah.
And then
And he was standing by the side of it too, so like I opened the door and no one was there, and I was like, what a guy. And then he like pops out, and I'm just like, oh man, too early to be scared. And then we watched 2 of these films and then head to class. But yeah, overall, I liked them. I know they didn't, like I said, they didn't use a lot of words, but a lot of the times there was a lot of simpler wordplay.
Simpler, yeah.
And some funny bits. For instance, mostly I liked Pork Chop.
Yeah, Pork Chop
When
and
they
Monkey.
introduced Pork Chop and Monkey. A lot of the stuff that they say and little things that they do are pretty good. I think it's in number 2. There's a bit with Monkey, who's a racer for the Maniacs, right?
Yeah, Metal Maniacs.
Metal Maniacs.
And he's like their
mechanic, basically.
Yeah, he's their mechanic.
And he's driving Wild's car, another member. And he's just like, man, where are the bathrooms? I gotta change my oil or leave the tank. And the one girl that helps Dr. Tesla, who's like kind of like the main... Bonnie, yeah, the main, what did she say? Not main mechanic, but like
she's like a technician, almost.
Yeah, main like shot caller from the booth, maybe coach. She's like, I don't get it. Why do you need to didn't you just finish doing stuff at the shop?
Mhm.
And the whole time she doesn't
Yeah,
get
she's
it.
so
but-
oblivious to the fact that he just needs to go pee.
Yeah, he just needs to take a whiz. So,
Yeah, but my favorite thing though about that whole exchange is right after that when he's like he evades the bus or whatever, or that big rig, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm so great," and then the drones come around the corner. It's like, "Oh, monkey better move."
monkey better move.
Yeah. Was there anything in the films that stood out to you as like really bad or just like very like childish that wouldn't like an adult wouldn't really enjoy?
One thing that I didn't know, I don't know if it's like really enjoyable or funny. I kind of think it's more funny than anything. What I notice a lot of people's background stories, they kind of just like hit you with this bombshell and then not explain or go more into depth. So like for instance, they're racing in this like underwater track, and Pork Chop almost drowns, and later they're like, "Bro, why'd you scared?" And he goes, "My father drowned," and then it just like moves on.
And it just immediately cuts to something else.
Then, so you got like that, and then like basically Wild, aka Mackie, and his older brother. What's his older brother's name? Do you know?
Kurt.
Oh
Oh yeah, his name is Marky, by the way.
yeah, Marky, or what did I say?
It's Marky. You said Mackie.
Oh, Mackie. I'm sorry, Marky.
No, the name
I know.
is.
I said
The
sorry.
name is Wild.
You're right. His name is Wild, which is just their last name. But Wild apparently goes to prison, but they like skip over this. I don't.
They explain it
tells
in the third movie.
Yeah, he says explains it.
When
but, like,
more revelations
the
happen.
first two movies, you just don't know. You just keep hearing Wild go, "Yeah, I'm not your little brother anymore. He died when he was in prison." You're
Yeah.
like, why do you go to prison?
You sent me to prison.
Why do you go to prison? To be continued.
Yeah,
I
you'll
guess.
find out in a couple days.
And then like the main racer of Teku hates
Nolo?
hates the main racer for
Torque.
Torque.
Because he thinks he killed his brother in a street race. Or caused him to crash.
Causes him to crash. And they just kind of leave everything like that. It's just
They-
like very
Well,
point one answer. And as a kid, you're just like,
Yeah, and when I watched it when I was little, I was just like, okay, cool, whatever, and then just goes on.
yeah.
'cause-
But for me, I'm like, wow, okay, so this big old guy, his dad drowned, sad. And we're just gonna ease past it.
now that he's talked about it, he's okay now. He can move on.
Yeah, that's all I need to do is tell Monkey.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, the guy was in prison, got a cool tattoo and got ripped. Move on. This guy has issues because his brother just died because he was just a bad drifter, I guess. But he blames another guy because it's his older brother and he can't accept it. So we're gonna make this a big point, but never solve it in four movies. Maybe solved kind of it in 2. I don't know if it's official, but it was close. So yeah, I think like little things like that, a different perspective being older is kind of interesting, but
Yeah.
nothing stood out. Like the animation's 2003, 2005.
2005, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean it's not going to be as good as it.
Yeah, it was a made-for-TV movie about Hot Wheels, so,
Yeah, so I mean it's not like crazy, but
it's not bad by any means.
yeah. Best thing, I mean the soundtrack killer.
Oh, I love the soundtrack
Soundtrack
to
is
these
killer.
films. Yeah.
This is another thing of how Zane was talking about how like it's kind of made for TV, like a movie, but also kind of like a TV show, kind of how long, is the intro song for I believe all of them, and definitely the outro song for at least 1 and 2, all have the exact same song, which is a big thing that they do in TV shows. So
Yeah, and also
it's a
just
good song.
sorry, and also just a quick thing when we watch 3 and 4, you will have more questions than answers because originally the series was supposed to have be
Oh,
composed of
that's right,
6
yeah,
movie
6.
films, and then for some reason they just didn't make the last 2, so they just kind of ended it at 4 with a cliffhanger. So
yeah, I will say definitely I preferred 2 over 1.
oh really?
Yes.
Why's that?
I felt like more things happened in 2, and I got a little bit more answers, and it left with a better cliffhanger.
Yeah,
than
well,
1.
I definitely say I can understand because Ignition is just it's Ignition. It's just like the
Yeah,
first
no,
part of
it's
the story is
definitely-
just setting everything
Yeah,
up.
no, I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, because one, I had to get you to explain like Highway 35
Yeah.
and everything. So like by two, and I had a little bit of more of a feel for all the characters. Still don't know most of their names unless if they're part of the actual gang from prison.
Mm-hmm.
I just enjoyed it more.
Yeah. For me, rewatching it for like the umpteenth million time again for this discussion.
That's a big number.
Yeah. It was different than all the other movies that we've watched that I've watched many times before or when I was perhaps younger, because it's strange because when I watch these movies, nothing ever really changes in terms of my enjoyment of it, or like what was the other thing I was gonna say? I forget. But like when we talked about Kung Pao,
Yeah.
every time I watch the movie, it just gets funnier and funnier to me.
Yeah, new favorite thing. Especially I feel like that happens when you show other people like a movie you really like. Is every time you watch and you see somebody else's reaction, I feel like it's better and better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll also say this is one of the few movies. These series of movies is one of the few. Like one of two of a category where this one is the movies and another one's a TV show, where it's the only thing where if I catch it on and I start to watch it, I always put down everything else and just watch it, the whole thing. I don't know. I don't know how much of my enjoyment of this film comes down to nostalgia. I like to think not a portion of it, but not like a majority of it, because I like to think I enjoy these films outside of that. I try to take off the rose-tinted glasses and all that. One thing I like about the film is, like you said, the soundtrack a lot.
Oh yeah, soundtrack's great.
But one thing I also noticed that really stuck out to me.
It's a good mixture too. It's not just like
all rock or something.
Or full rock. It's a good mix.
One thing that stood out to me after watching these films over and over again is also deals with the audio, but not the soundtrack. It's the sound effects.
Oh, like the actual cars and stuff? The
sounds of the cars and the explosions and all the other Foley and not Foley, but all the other sounds and stuff like that.
I mean, it could be.
That's to me, that I don't know why, that's been the most memorable thing about all these movies, is as soon as I hear any sound effect from Acceleracers or Highway 35, it immediately clicks with me and I think about it. I don't know why, but I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was a cool thing.
Sound.
Yeah, I love all the characters in the film, and I love all the action scenes, and yeah, I'm trying to think of other ways to divulge my feelings on it, but I really can't.
I mean, that's fair though. I mean, you watched it a millionth time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call these a guilty pleasure for me, because I don't know. I still enjoy them so much.
Yeah. And as someone that says I don't really rewatch, this is one of those films, like, after the first time for me, it's one of those, it's a one and done thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I could rewatch.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you that, if you would ever go back and rewatch these.
You know, like, I hardly rewatch films as it is.
Oh yeah, unless it's The Gorilla.
Yeah, I only, but even then, I've only seen that twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kung Pao.
Kung Pao's seen that probably twice, 3 times. But because I don't like rewatching films unless if it's been like a solid break in between. And by break, I mean like 4 years break.
Or if it's like, do you rewatch films if it's like a mystery and you got to rewatch it like multiple times to like get everything? Do you watch those? Like,
I mean, sometimes. Now, because of the show, I'm kind of watching everything twice when I have to, like, think more. Watch it 1 if I haven't seen it, kind of for pleasure, and 2 for if I like it. But like this is one of those definitely one and done. So not that it's bad. It's just, for me, it's not 100% great.
Oh, I understand.
Like,
yeah,
I can't rewatch it and be like fully entertained. Like I could, because especially with it not being heavy sound or heavy talking, like the sound and soundtrack is great, and like you said, all the explosion and car racing is great, but when they're racing and all you hear is car noises, you don't really know what's going on. You hear a few words every now and then when they're racing, like, oh, slow down on the wet turns. You're like, obviously someone's about to go over a turn, and like when I rewatch movies, since I get the plot again, I don't really watch them fully anyway, so I couldn't give it my full undivided attention. Like you said that you could drop everything, I could not. I would have a 1 ear out to it, but I
Yeah,
glance
this
every now and
isn't a very dialogue centric movies.
No. It is not, which is good in one aspect if you can't hear, but bad in another aspect, because if you're not looking at it, you don't really know fully what's going on or get the full effect.
Yeah, and even though we only watched the first one, we're talking about them, I like them evenly. Because actually, the third one is my favorite.
The third one
of
is
the
your
four.
favorite?
Yes.
Of the four?
Yeah. 3 is my favorite. 4 is my least favorite, and then 1 and 2 are tied in the middle. So.
All right. Well, I mean, right now, as I've only seen 1 and 2, 2 is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, did it hold your attention more?
It did hold my attention more. I think because I don't know, versus talking, which one had more talking, but the dialogue in 2 I just felt was overall better. Because it built up more character depth for sure than number 1. Number 1 was kind of like, oh, okay, my name's Dr. Tesla.
Yeah, and
I need
I'm
these
so and so.
racers,
Yeah.
and we need this. We need to win, and you guys are all awful. So
Yeah, bye.
Also, oh yeah, Dr. Tesla.
What a guy.
He, what one might say, is an a-hole.
Yes.
Okay, he's not a good guy.
Not really.
He's all about himself. Also, basically, he's not crippled. He's not crippled from the main villains, but he has to wear a full suit, which kind of makes him
It's like exoskeleton type thing.
So,
Well, I wouldn't say he's like wholly a bad person. He's just very self-centered, and he's kind of like the mad scientist kind of thing, where like he's more like he has to find like the knowledge and whatever.
yeah, he needs the answer, and he doesn't care if people die as long as he gets his thing.
Yep.
So, but number 2 definitely expanded upon all the characters, and I think that's maybe I'm assuming or guessing, and you know what they say about assuming, but in 3 you said they answer a lot of the questions. So I feel like maybe that's part of the reason why it's one of the best ones.
They answer / settle things.
Subtle things. Okay, well, I mean, so that's kind of already as like, because there's no specific one main character, right? You would say.
Well, it's kind of difficult. Not difficult. I guess it's a little difficult because in Highway 35, Vert was clearly he was the main character.
Yeah.
He was the one you're supposed to identify and root for and whatever, and the most time was focused on him. But that's one thing I like about Acceleracers is where it kind of pulls away the focus from him and it's more about kind of all the racers, because I think every racer of the 2 teams, all 10 of them each have like their own story, and they all get like their moment to shine.
Yeah.
At certain points throughout the films, like when he had to redo the water realm all over again, and run through because he went to the drones realm when he got caught in between them.
And then he breaks the record.
Yeah, and then the very first race that they win, Vert lost horribly. It was Nolo, the leader of the Teku, that won it, because I like that because it's just a little thing, but it shows that it's not just the protagonist that's like clearly he's better than everybody else. It's like Dragon Ball Z, like Goku and Vegeta, clearly they're so far ahead of everybody else, and it always just focuses on them. But I still like the other characters. I wish they would show them, and that's what I think these movies do well.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely good, and I think that might be why 3 sounds like it's gonna be the best one, because if they said all of it, because there's a bunch of mini storylines with the big plot is gotta go get the willpower.
Gotta get those Accelerchargers.
Gotta win these small races to get the willpower.
Yep.
For Tesla.
If they get all the cars, the drones are going to become so powerful. In what way? I don't know.
Robots. Oh no.
Gotta get those green robots. But yeah.
I said like 4 times. I'm an idiot. Who's your favorite? You don't have a favorite character, do you?
Not really. I like everybody, even Tesla. Even though
I will say the first character I think everyone will like.
Oh, Monkey.
Especially, yes, starting out.
Because he's the comic relief.
He's definitely the comic relief. Because in number 1, right, when he finally gets there and they're all like there, he's definitely the wimp and the worst of the racers. I mean, he's not bad, but he's definitely not
He,
the
he
best.
he likes to actually work on cars more than race them.
Yeah, and the whole time they're doing something, he's like, how much money am I getting?
Yeah.
And they're like, actually, this is free. And he's like, take me back. Take me back. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And then Pork Chop, obviously. Pork Chop just reminds me of, like, a dad. Also, Teku's Gang's music is all...
They're all like electronic and techno and stuff.
Ooh.
And they're all, and Metal Maniacs are obviously like more metal, rock, that kind of thing.
I really feel with Pork Chop when he wants to just bash their brains.
Yeah,
at
bash all
some
their
point.
speakers in and turn off their music.
Yeah, full dad mode.
Yeah, they're two very funny gingers.
Yeah, the gingers are the best, surprisingly. Usually that's not how it is in movies or TV.
So, I guess the important question is, would you recommend these to anyone like our age?
Our age, unless if you're a big Hot Wheels fan, probably not. If you want like if you're curious, then yeah. Or if you want like a entertaining short little hour watch of a racing film, they're not bad. I mean, but compared to other racing films, not top notch. Like, would I recommend this for like over like Death Race or something? No.
Yeah, understandable.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say it's bad, but like if you're not a Hot Wheels fan at all, you probably want to give this movie a chance.
I would definitely say for a general audience, this is a more narrow,
Super narrow.
I guess narrow audience
Yeah,
that would appeal, that this would appeal to. But I would recommend it to pretty much, well, I guess not everybody,
If you're 10 and under,
honestly, but I would like to think that it would be
Yeah.
for everyone because I love these movies a lot. But
if you're 10 and under though, I know
Oh,
none of our
I rec-
listeners
I do
are,
rec-
you definitely should watch.
I recommend this to children of all ages.
Yeah, it's really good, especially if you've ever played with Hot Wheels and you're still a kid.
Okay,
Definitely
well,
good.
I would also even recommend it if you just like racing video games as well,
Yeah,
and you're like younger.
it would be better with a game though. As a game.
Yeah. Oh, and there's one last thing I wanted to point out before we end it. So, the accelerators, huh?
Oh, that's another thing. Before, you know how at the beginning of the episode I was talking about how they kind of do like these small little things and just gloss over it like it's not a big deal. The very first race when that guy just they just kill him off. I won't say who it is. They just kill him off.
Yeah, there's
and
just a
they're
guy
like,
that dies at the very beginning.
We gotta go get him.
And it's like-
then Tesla's just like, no. And then everybody's just like, all right, okay, bye.
It's kind of like not as extreme, but have you ever seen Titan AE?
No,
Dang it, I don't want to spoil that for you then. I'll save that for another
he
time.
just dies.
But yeah, there's a guy that dies like in the first movie, and it's like no one else really dies after that. It's just like used to like he's dead. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's just gone.
It just kind of happens. But there is a small community. Well, actually, I shouldn't say small. I don't know how large or small it is. There's a community online of fans of the Accelerator movies, and they're very devoted to it. Because I looked into it a tiny bit, and there was a script for episode 5, and I think it might have been released, and I'm pretty sure it was titled like The Edge, and people have maybe uploaded it, and people have tried to do like fan videos and stuff of trying to continue it. Now, I highly doubt that Hot Wheels or Mattel or whoever's in charge of this or owns this will ever continue it, but
Imagine
I like
if
to.
they did.
I like to cling on to hope that it will one day.
One day.
So,
One day return.
what kind of food or experience does this make you think of, or would you compare to?
To me, Zane, this is like any food that's just out in the open, you know? When you're hanging out with a friend.
Oh, so just like a vague food.
Yeah, like vague. I don't know, like maybe you ever like, you know when you go to like your grandparents and they have that old classic hard candy out in a bowl.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it reminds me of, because it's definitely like if I were to watch it, it would have been when I was a child more to relate to that. So it would probably be like hard candy, like they put it on because they're like, be quiet, watch a movie or something.
Gotcha.
And then hard candy.
Well, for me, I'm fairly certain that I've used cereal before in another movie. I have. Okay, I'm still gonna use cereal, but I'm gonna use it for a different reason than I did last time.
Oh, that's fine.
Because this time,
What type of cereal?
well,
Got a specific brand like Cheerios?
maybe not a specific brand, but a
Obviously, Honey
specific
Nut
type.
Cheerios,
Definitely, I'd say sugary cereal.
sugary.
Tasty cereal, as I like to call it. You have cereal and then you have tasty cereal.
So you have bland and good.
Yeah. So to me, these films are like a bowl of tasty cereal, where cereal is one of my favorite foods, like top 5, no doubt. And
Top
if
five?
I have a bowl of cereal, or if I make one, I'm gonna eat that whole thing right then and there.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
just going to, and I'm always gonna enjoy it no matter
Yeah,
what.
because you can't let it sit because the milk's gonna make all the food
Soggy.
too soggy.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I would compare these films to.
I mean that's good. Will it change for when you add 3 and 4? It will be about the same.
It'll most likely be
That's a good
it will
question.
be the same for 3, different for 4.
Different for 4. All right.
Yes, possibly.
But for 1 and 2, they are definitely the same.
Yes.
All right. Same with mine. Hard candy. That's probably lazy. That might change.
That's not lazy.
But yeah. Just-
All right.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Next episode obviously going to be part 2.
Yes.
Episode
Episode 3 and 4.
4.
Breaking Point and the Ultimate Race.
Yeah. Hot Wheels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything you want to add?
Just that after we're done with all these Hot Wheel movies, we're going to review The Departed, which
The
Steven
Departed,
is
yes.
wanted to do for a while. So
I have been wanting to do it, and it's also for a grade in another class. Shout out to my coolest teacher because she's like, I don't have to write a 7 to 10 page paper. I get to do
Yep.
a podcast episode. And if that's not cool, then you don't know what cool is, folks.
yep.
All right. Well, we love you guys.
Bye.